This week, when we chose to actually review this book, Make Your Bed, some of us were being targeted because some of us had started growing the tendency of not laying our beds. So, yeah, so this week we review a book called Make Your Bed. It basically talks about different things that can help improve you, starting from the smallest of items like making your bed in the morning. So, yeah, joining me today is Josephine Olok, yes, and Angela in his spirit. Yes, so otherwise, let's get started. So Josephine will be shooting me with questions, then I'll shoot her with questions, then yeah, we'll share the last bit of it. So yeah, Josephine.
Yeah, hi Del, how are you doing?
I'm okay.
Okay, so good. So you've introduced a book. It's by Admiral McRaven, Make Your Bed. So you mentioned that you don't make your bed, I think. How do you make your bed, if at all?
I tuck in all sides at least on occasion. Yeah, so how do you make your bed? When I read the book, it was literally talking about the minute tasks which can help improve you. So they started with the simple one of making your bed. And since it was written by a person from the military background, in the military background, according to the stories I've heard and according to the movies I've watched, laying your bed is something very critical that they actually check using a coin. So this way they throw the coin, and when it bounces back and the person is able to catch it, then you have done a very good job. I don't think if you do that on my bed, it will work. But yeah, so that's the whole idea of make your bed. So um so yeah, that's the whole essence of the book of doing such tasks which help you in the long run.
Yeah, and of course it's about, at least if you achieve that when you come home, at least, and if it's the only thing you achieve, at least when you come home, you come home to a well-made bed. But
Yeah,
also you have that sense of achievement. At least I made my bed.
yeah.
So I hope that is something that you're going to do from now on.
At least when
Now,
I was reading the book, it forced me to start laying my bed. So
yeah,
that, yeah.
okay, that's good to hear.
Mm.
So then there's also the concept of you can't do it alone. In this book, what did you get from that phrase? You can't
Well,
do it alone.
yes. So when I approached it, they were giving it more in an essence of working in teams to achieve a particular goal. And they gave an example of the time they were given boats to carry and to row the boats, and it was a competition. And sometimes you'll find that you are not the strongest in the team, or sometimes you'll find you're sick in the team, and still you have to continue rowing as part of the exercise of choosing exactly who is going to go through the military training. So that gave him that essence of you can't actually do it alone, that you find you still need other people to actually do their part in order for you to actually reach a particular level. A good example would also be this podcast, that we are a team, and there's some tasks I do, that some tasks you do, and each and everyone has their own role. And sometimes you have to pick up the slack from another person, and that's basically how things work.
Yeah. Okay. And do you agree that failure can make you stronger?
Um, yes, I do agree with that, that you learn a lot from when you make mistakes than when you achieve things. As much as when you achieve something, it's good it's a good feeling that you have actually achieved. But I believe the more you try to pursue something and things do not go well, you learn so many ways of how not to do it in order to get it to work the way you want it to work. A good example would be the light bulb with the, I'm forgetting the guy's name. So I think you're on mute.
Was it Isaac Newton? No, light bulb was someone else. No. Anyway, it's gone out of my head. Yeah.
Yeah. So you learn multiple ways of not doing it in order for you to get it. So yeah, that's basically one thing you learn along the way, and there's no other way of learning it but only through getting it wrong. So that's the whole essence.
Yet we're so afraid to make mistakes. But
Yeah,
as you said, we learn more from mistakes than from doing things correctly.
Yeah, I realized that especially when I was in the mentorship programs, especially if you talk to people who have already achieved or reached where you want to reach, you'll be like, the guy is like, so what is stopping you? Ah, yes, I failed. So what's wrong with it? So you fail to even come up with excuses. So they kind of nudge you to a point that it's okay for things not to go well, but doesn't mean that you should stop there. So at the end of the day, you push yourself to make things work. A good example would be the podcast, and yeah, so there were a lot of people pushing me and like, ew, so yeah, why aren't you doing it if you're saying it's a good idea? So yeah, so you end up doing it regardless.
That's true. Okay.
So life is not fair. Drive on. How does the author portray this in the book?
Okay, so I think in this book he uses a lot of the examples from his SEAL training, to talk about the idea that life is really not fair, and that instead of it's really not fair. So he basically shares his story of in SEAL training, and in the first instance it was about being a sugar cookie. Now the concept of a sugar cookie is that no matter how well you do, you can't avoid it when you're in SEAL training. It's completely indiscriminate. There's no reason for it, and it's really at the whim of the instructor to decide whether you're going to be a sugar cookie. Now, in his experience of being a sugar cookie, he had some morning physical training, and it seems he didn't know what had happened, whether he commit what rule he had broken. But his punishment, when you're a sugar cookie, your punishment is to jump in the surf zone, roll around in the sun, and make yourself a sugar cookie. And you have to cover yourself in so much sand until the instructor is satisfied that you're well covered. Now it's a test of your patience, it's a test of your determination, and unfortunately, you spend the whole day with sand on you, sand in your neck, sand under your arms, and sand between your legs. Now, because you could have done the best, you could have done the best thing, you could have been excellent at whatever, you can still end up being a sugar cookie. Now, it says that it's a lot of people find that hard to accept, but this is supposed to teach you that no matter how hard you do things don't always go your way. One of the instructors that was punishing him in that incident became a friend of his. He was one of the best SEAL officers. He was a great swimmer. He was a Vietnam vet. He was an expert with every weapon that they had. He was one of the best skydivers, and he was a very good athlete. Unfortunately, he got involved in. It was called Lieutenant Philip Martin, and he was known as Moki for short. Unfortunately, he had a biking accident which left him paralyzed from the waist down. And he never complained. He went on to become a painter, father, and he also set up some super pro triathlon. Now the lesson here is that um, most people are defined by how they deal with life's unfairness, whether or not it is justified. So sometimes, however hard you try, no matter how good you are, you can still end up with a sugar cookie. So it's pointless to waste energy complaining. It's pointless to blame your misfortune on what you have. That it's better that you just move on.
Yeah, that's true. And that's one of the problems which people always find, that they're doing everything right, but things are not going the way they want.
Yeah.
Yeah. So stand up to bullies. That one, I'm sure, I don't know if you've had bullies in your life, but what are some of the challenges this book portrayed?
I think if you went through school, there are bullies. Even at work, there are bullies. At home, there are bullies. So bullies are everywhere.
Really?
So yes,
Mm.
yeah, you get people who think that they're above you even at home. So you can imagine. So anyway, in this example, he gives two examples of how he stood up to bullies. I mean, how they stood up for bullies. So in the SEAL training, there is they're required to swim at night, and they swim off they swim in shark infested waters. And the instructors make sure that they know that these waters are full of sharks. They even describe the sharks. They'll say, "Oh, there's this great shark," but the big shark obviously is the great white, the most fierce, the biggest killer around. So for him, I think they always assigned a swim buddy. So they always swim together with a swim buddy. And he explained that because they wanted to be seals so badly, they felt that they could do anything to be the seal. So it gave them the courage when they were swimming to say to themselves that whatever happens, we are going to become seals. So if a shark comes, we're going to stand up to the shark. And they were told that the best way to stand up to a shark is to when if it comes to you, you just punch it in the nose. I don't know how many show no fear. Face
I
them,
don't
show
think
no fear.
I don't think I will
I
be in that situation. First of all, you were freeze, so I don't know
But I mean,
how that would work out.
anyway, it's an interesting one. But I think they did swim in the water. I don't know if they were ever approached by sharks. But that is what was the basis of their courage because they wanted to be sealed so badly.
Mm.
So it says that we must have courage, and that without it, you find that other people then decide what your path should be, and then you're also at the mercy of life's temptations if you don't have courage about your belief and what you want. He also talks about Saddam Hussein. Saddam Hussein, he interacted with Saddam Hussein as a prisoner. Saddam Hussein was a prisoner, and that he saw how Saddam Hussein intimidated the Iraqi leaders who came to visit him. Here was Saddam Hussein. He was a prisoner, but the Iraqi leaders were still afraid of him, and he felt that there's no way that he was going to allow him to intimidate him. So they basically ignored him. They kept instructing him and showing him that he has nothing on them, that he is no longer important. He can no longer intimidate anybody around him. So the message here is that bullies are the same everywhere you go, whether it is in the playground, whether it is in the workplace, whether it is sharks. But a lot of bullies, what they do is they sense fear. So if they see that you're afraid, that is when they strike. If you stand up to them and you stand your ground, you show that you're courageous, then they cannot intimidate you. And in life, if you want to achieve your goals, you have to be you have to be courageous. And we all have courage within us. We just have to dig deep and find it.
Yeah. So as you're talking of courage, you're talking about Hell Week now. So
Yeah,
what's
Hell
exact?
Week.
Mm.
So Hell Week. I think that the program is what, 6? Is it 6 months or what is it? the SEAL training program is, I don't know, I forget the number of weeks it is, but the Hell Week is supposed to be like in the 9th week of the training program, and it lasts for that week, 6 days. And now in Hell Week, you're subjected to sleep deprivation. I think you get around 4 hours, maybe to 4 hours during the entire week, constantly being physically challenged. So there's running, you're swimming, there's obstacle courses, you're carrying heavy logs. And then, of course, the instructors are constantly yelling at you and insulting you, and they're trying to break you down. You're also under very hot and under very cold and wet conditions. So you've got these mud, they call them mud flats and all that. So basically, it's designed to push you to the limit of your physical ability, push you to the limit of your psychological ability, make you miserable, make you so miserable that you want to quit. In this example, he was, I think you have to be in the mud. They call them mud flats, and in the mud flats, you're there up to your neck in mud. It's cold. And you spend like 15 hours just standing there, shivering in the mud. And of course, the instructors are constantly, putting you under pressure to quit. Enticing you to quit. So it says a lot of times this is the time when students quit. Now, when he was in the mud flats, somebody in the mud started singing, and that encouraged some of the students who were actually on their way, about to exit, to also come back and start singing. And singing, they all started singing, and in doing so, it strengthened their resolve not to quit. So, as I said, it's the purpose of Hell Week. You test the limits of the candidates so that you're testing their endurance, you're testing their determination and their teamwork to see if they really, really want to be a SEAL. And if you're not fully committed to being a SEAL, there's no way you're going to put up with those conditions. So I think it's a metaphor for Hell Week is a metaphor for life's challenges. That if you can survive something hard, and especially for a SEAL like Hell Week, then you can survive anything that life throws at you. And again, also the power of one person can make the difference. So the person who started saying make the difference for the rest of them, and that one person gave them more hope.
Yes. Yeah, it's interesting how when it doesn't take a lot to help, push someone to proceed, and make changes in life. And so, lastly, never ever quit.
Yeah. So
How
so
do
I
you
think
stand your ground?
are you asking me or asking the book?
Both.
For me, I always okay. I always pick my battles. So there's some battles that I don't want to lose, and there's some battles that I'm willing to walk away from. I think my mother gave me a lot of courage. So because she went through some hardships, I saw her as very courageous, and I always measure my situation with what she went through, and I'm like, if she went through that, I can also go through it. So I do have I have an element of fearlessness when it comes to certain things, but of course, there's some things that I'm really afraid of. You'd be surprised at some of the things I'm afraid of. I'm afraid of of uh, you know,
Pets.
like yes, rats. I'm afraid of rats. I'm afraid of the sight of blood. I'm afraid of just seeing anyone in pain gives me a lot of fear. Yeah. So there's those things that I'm afraid of, but other things I'm not terribly afraid of. So now in the book, I think the SEAL training is actually 6 months. I thought I don't know why I was thinking 6 weeks. It's 6 months, and the author says that they started off with 150 students, but by the end of the training, it was like 30 something. I think there were 33 of them, And the thing with the seal is, if you're quitting, you go and ring a bell. Yeah. So you've got to go and you ring the bell, and it's like you basically quit. I think what he's basically saying is that you should never quit. Yeah. That you're always going to be put in situations where quitting seems so much easier than continuing. And I think, the physical challenges that they were put through were really hard. And he says also that sometimes when the odds are stacked against you, that giving up seems the easy thing to do. But if you quit, you give up. You kind of don't challenge yourself, and you give up on the opportunity to do better. Yeah. He gives the example of the young soldier who was like 19 or something, who stepped on a mine and he got blown up. And he lost his legs. Yeah. When he went to see him, the guy couldn't even speak, but he could sign. And he told him that when he signed and told him that, I'm going to be okay. Now this is somebody who just did not want to quit. Yeah. He once he recovered, got out of hospital, he started, he learned how to use his prosthetic legs, but he kept on challenging his fellow, he was a ranger, he kept on challenging his fellow rangers, for other contests and things like that. So it's basically saying that you should never quit, never ring the bell, because if you think about your situation, there's always going to be somebody who is better, who's worse off than you are. And you should not fill your days with, with feeling sorry for yourself. You shouldn't spend your days saying that I've been treated badly, complaining about what you have, blaming your circumstances on other people, because that's just a waste of time. So what you need to do is be clear on what your dreams are and absolutely refuse to give up on your dreams, and just stand tall and say, I am going to go through with the dreams, however hard it is. And then life is going to be exactly how you want it, because you're not going to be allowing yourself to quit because of circumstances, yeah, that go against you. You're going to stand tall and insist that you're going to live up to your dreams and live up to your potential. So that is why I advise it that you should not quit. Okay, then what did the writer mean when he said "prove me wrong"?
Well, this is an excerpt from a story which he talks about, where they were lined up and there was this short fellow, and this short fellow, according to one of the trainers, obviously during this military background, in the training, they're always trying to bully you to, quit, to push your buttons to ensure that you actually, leave the premises. So this young man was literally among the short ones, and like, are you sure you're going to make it? Saying, yes, I'm going to make it. Are you sure? Then he whispered to him something. Then, as they were swimming, because one of the competitions they were having was to swim, so he emerged as the first. So the writer goes on to ask him, actually, what did they tell you? So he was literally told, prove me wrong, that you actually deserve to be here. So, and that's the essence of, us as human beings, we always want that, to always push ourselves. And if someone gives you that platform to, showcase what you can do, it gives you a chance to actually prove them wrong, and also bring out the best in you. So at the end of the day, you have to showcase what you are born to do. So, and at the end of the day, at least you come out knowing that yes, I put in the hours, I did all that it takes to actually achieve that. So,
And you didn't
Josephine,
quit.
yes. So
Yeah.
generally, how was the book? Because me, I listened to it and it was 1 hour and 30 minutes. Those who enjoy Audible, you should check it out. So how did you interface with it? How was it?
I enjoyed it. I have actually, this is my second time to read it. I think I read it 2 years ago, but I really enjoyed it because I love the lessons that are in there. And I think it's really a big message on resilience. That it's a people who are bold enough to set their goals, and know that they obviously the making your bed is like you start the day with the task completed, but to meet your goals, you've got to make sure that you know that you can't do it alone. That is one thing. You've got to be respectful, and you know that life is not always going to be fair. But if you believe in your goals and in yourself, you need to have that courage to stand up to everything that comes your way, whether it is bullies, whether it is circumstances in life, whether it is your house burnt down or whatever, that you can do all this, and not give up, especially if you want to change your life, to change your life for the better, and if you also want to change the world, if your goal is big enough. But I do think it gives me that thing of, I like it when he writes never ever ever give up. He writes, the way he insists that you should not give up, and I think that is so important. That we will fail, we will have bad days, but you should never give up. So I really really like the book, and I like the fact that it was short and full of lessons, and based on his personal experience, which is really good. So I enjoyed it. And what about you?
Yeah, it was eye-opening, and it's like every chapter was a new kind of lesson he was bringing out. And I like this concept of tying a story into a lesson.
Yeah,
I think it
yeah,
still goes back to like biblically and all that, where stories are brought out in that same format. And it's
yeah,
very effective even up to now, that most of the best sellers always have that type of thing. So
yeah.
yeah. So if you're planning
So
on writing a book, that's a hint. So I'm
so
awaiting yours.
did it make you want to become a SEAL?
No, no.
I wish I had done that in my younger days.
Ah,
Yeah,
but
I like
still,
that idea.
I don't think because one of the physicals, if I'm not mistaken, is they check your teeth if you have replaced, meaning you're not strong enough. So I've replaced my
That's
tooth before.
not true.
It's at least basing on some people. That's what they told me. I'm
Uh,
like, okay. Then
so you
another
ruled
one is,
yourself out on teeth.
yeah, another one is age. I don't know if I'm still within the age bracket, but
Yeah, of
I
course.
doubt.
That's why I said in my younger days, it helps when you start when you're young. But yeah. Anyway, no, that's been good. It's been good.
Otherwise, thank you all for being part of this show. Check out other book reviews on the channel. Otherwise, see you on the next episode.
Thank you.